The Albanese government is desperately playing catch-up when it comes to Israel. It's now resorted to hollow political gestures before the election, and only because there is an election around the corner. Now, this is a government which has dragged its heels for 15 months on Israel and anti-Semitism. It's abandoned Jewish Australians, allowed anti-Jewish sentiment to flourish, sold out our values for votes at the United Nations, and won praise from Hamas in the process. And so now, unsurprising, the polls are bad. They show the public views Albanese as weak, and Albo comes up with a bright idea. Here's what we'll do. Here's an idea on how to fix and mend relations with the Jewish community, which has been dragged through the mud since 2023. Send Attorney General Mark Dreyfus to Israel. Get him to sort out the relationship, and surely that'll get everything back on track.
We have people regularly visit our friends, and Mark Dreyfus is visiting. He had there was previously a scheduled visit that wasn't able to go ahead. So Mark Dreyfus will be visiting. He'll be there for around about a week, and we've publicly put out that announcement.
It doesn't set this up as a very convincing visit, does it? Does Albanese seriously think we have forgotten about his betrayal of Israel, like the last 15 months never happened? That he can just send Mark Dreyfus, his most senior Jewish minister, over to Israel and all would be forgotten? How stupid does he think we are? Mark Dreyfus is Jewish, but I would ask, what has he done in the last 15 months? What has he said publicly after every anti-Semitic attack in this country happening in his own community? When has Mark Dreyfus come out publicly and said enough is enough? What has he done to quell the fears and concerns of Jewish Australians? Not much. He's not publicly said whether Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would be arrested if he was to set foot in this country, as per the International Criminal Court's warrant. And he is the Attorney General. He should know. And in that role, he's done nothing when it comes to enforcing laws around hate preachers and those who incite hate and violence towards Jews. But he's ducked and weaved and avoided his own responsibilities. That's all despite before the last election in 2021, Mark Dreyfus told the Jewish community that Labor has not committed to recognising a Palestinian state. Instead, he stood there like a spectator with the rest of the Labor cabinet, like cowards. But for some reason, Albo thinks that this is the man to go to Israel to make peace and improve relations which have been destroyed by Labor. Now, that's not to say privately, maybe he's shared a different opinion. He did plan to travel there for the October 7 anniversary, but that was cancelled. Maybe he does disagree with Labor's stance. But where is the moral conscience? If you truly love your community, you would act on that. The onus is on people like Mark Dreyfus to speak publicly, to speak up for their own community. But he's not done that. And you can't just send him over there just because he's Jewish. It's insulting. And this really sums up the sentiment of the community to that announcement.
I think we have been really let down by our federal government, and we do have to ask why our Attorney General is being sent. Why isn't our Foreign Minister or our Prime Minister making the visit to mend relationships? It's really not fair to make the Attorney General the de facto minister for Jews.
Well, firstly, nobody can repair the damage Albo and Wong have done, but that is the question at play. Why has Anthony Albanese still not travelled to Israel himself? Now, if Australia was serious, genuinely serious about mending that relationship, it's got to come from the top. The Prime Minister of the country should be going. Instead, he's sending someone else over there to do his dirty work. And that question was asked today.
Shouldn't it be you and the Foreign Minister going over there to mend relations with Israel?
The Foreign Minister has visited Israel already. The Attorney General is an appropriate person to visit Israel. A range of others have visited Israel in recent time.
No, Prime Minister, you're wrong. You should have gone a long time ago. Israel is a long-standing ally of this country and it's been abandoned. And as for Penny Wong, well, she didn't even have the nerve nor the courage to visit the sites of the October 7 massacre. She went there for a box-ticking exercise. To not travel to the sites of the biggest loss of life since the Holocaust was incredibly disrespectful. And let's not forget, this is what the Prime Minister said about that at the time.
Penny Wong's itinerary is a matter for her. I've got to tell you, what I don't do is have a precise itinerary of all of my ministers.
It tells you all you need to know. In the days after the massacre, as the world watched on in horror, while women were being raped, while terrorists were holding hostages and still are, Penny Wong declared Israel should exercise restraint. Well, thank goodness Benjamin Netanyahu ignored Penny Wong, otherwise Israel would have been overrun by terrorists a long time ago. It would have been destroyed. And yet she still voted with the UN for Palestinian statehood, rewarding terror, inviting terror, and emboldening terrorists. When have they demanded Hamas stop attacking Israel? They haven't. So what is the point of Mark Dreyfus going now? Because the horse has well and truly bolted. Actions speak louder than announcements. Israel has been shown Labor's cards already. At every opportunity, Labor hasn't sided with Israel, it's sided with terrorism. This is nothing more than a hollow political gesture before the election, and Albo is desperately trying to catch up. The sad part is, once again, it's all at the expense of Jewish Australians.